A new CNN poll has Trump ahead of Biden by 5 points, which is beyond the margin of error. There is a governor that thinks it's a proud proclamation to have killed her puppy. The movie Civil War, in combination with the intense effort to put in place Project 2025 in the event of a Trump election, makes one wonder, could it actually happen? This is the Snowstorm. Hey everybody, welcome to the Snowstorm. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm your host, Nicholas Snow, and this is an all-volunteer network. There's times in my productions where I've done a show every night, and right now I'm endeavoring to do one almost every Sunday morning. Joining me again in a few moments, or maybe minutes, is Robert Karl, who's a regular on the show, and also, unfortunately, Wyatt O'Brien Evans is on the road this weekend. He's on assignment, so he won't be able to join us, but he sends his love, and we send our love to him. So, the movie Civil War came out on April 12th. I didn't see it until 2 nights ago. Last night I watched the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and a week ago my regular Joy Silver, my regular guest, did an in-depth on Project 2025, and of course this new CNN poll has come out that has Trump 5 points ahead, which is beyond the margin of error. There's a whole lot of things going on. We're talking about it today, and I'm going to be back with my guest, Robert Karl, soon. But as I mentioned, this is the Snowstorm. You better grab your shovels. PromoHomo.TV is all about empowering you, our communities, and our world. Shouting out to my media partners. Pink Media, amplifying PromoHomo.TV across the Twitterverse with their hashtag I Love Gay campaign. GayDesertGuide.lgbt. And KGay 1065 Palm Springs, available worldwide. Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY. Here's the deal, folks. We have two distinct choices. We can prepare ourselves to live under authoritarian rule, or we can do everything in our power to save democracy. And saving democracy is the precise reason I have launched the Snowstorm, your quintessential LGBTQ Sunday Show at 9 a.m. Pacific. Find it at PromoHomo.TV. So interestingly, the viewership of this show live has gone up. Generally, most people watch this show after the fact. So if you're doing that, that's a common thing. But live viewership during the program itself has gone up, but my audience has gotten really shy. So I just want to let you know that if you are watching live and you have a question about anything that my guest and I might talk about, or about what you're feeling regarding the political landscape, or what's on your mind, and you post it in your social media comments, I can curate it onto the screen, and just like this. Also, I want to encourage you to support the network for as little as $3 a month. As I mentioned, this is an all-volunteer effort, and that your support helps pay the bills. And if I end up with about 1,000 supporters at $3 a month, then I can start making a living and producing more programming. Also, if you don't want to miss an episode, please subscribe at youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network. It's not enough just to subscribe. You also need to make sure you go into your YouTube settings and turn on notifications for the show. Or else, you won't necessarily learn about it. Of course, I'm now on YouTube Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But I have to tell you, Facebook will not tell you in most instances when I'm live, so don't rely on them if you want to engage live. So that is the housekeeping. And before I bring Robert Karl on, I think I'm going to go ahead and show you the trailer, the official trailer for the movie Civil War. Um, and then that will give you, if you haven't seen the movie, that will give you a frame of reference for what we're going to be discussing regarding that. So hold on to your hats, people. This is not marketed as a horror film, but believe me, it is horrifying.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America,
The so-called Western forces of Texas and California
have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens?
We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Bloody.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car! Move, move, move!
You're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go, 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 go!
God bless America.
Okay, people, that is the trailer for Civil War. We will be talking about that, among other things. Let me welcome to the show my buddy, Robert Karl. Hi, Robert.
Hello, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great, and I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Well, I am going to widen my shot because I see you have a new addition to your wardrobe.
Yes, I do. Let me just make it a little more apparent like that. And what a beautiful T-shirt for PromoHomo.TV. I love it.
Well, that is so cool. And you know what? I think Alexa has misunderstood that I wanted her to play. So just a second. Alexa, stop. Okay, Google, stop. Somehow in my conversation, Google has decided that I told it to play music.
Oh, I've had Siri go on by herself. Yes.
Well, now you became a supporter of PromoHomo.TV at the $25 a month level, and that was like 3 months ago. And in the third month, the perk is that T-shirt. So thank you for your support.
You're welcome. And that's not the only perk that I have.
Oh, you got the sticker. Now I'm thinking maybe you don't have a car there in Puerto Rico.
I do have a car, but I I really wanted to do this
You
with the
wanted to be able to
sticker
feature it on the
and put it.
show.
Yes, I did.
Well, you
So
know, people
I was
people
debating.
hold it up again.
It looks great on the glass.
Yeah, so it comes like this, but as you can
Yes,
see, when you peel this off,
right,
it punctuates the letters and it
right,
gives it shows off the background of whatever you put it on.
right.
And
I
this is
love
what you
it.
get when you support
Right.
PromoHomo TV for $3 a month.
So
You automatically
people start sending in your money. This is so cool.
Well, I have 4 of those stickers on my car. I love it when people pull up and look over to see who's driving.
Of course.
So,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Did you see? Have you seen the movie? Have you seen the movie Civil War yet?
I have not, but wow, that trailer is really amazing. And my reaction to it is I've seen a lot of people actually advocating for civil war on social media. It's amazing. Like people on Twitter who actually want to go to civil war, people who show themselves in training for civil war, and then people kind of make fun of them because they look a little ridiculous running around with their machine guns, shooting whatever, but targets. But my real reaction to it is that Americans, luckily, think of wars as something that happen in far off places. They really, I think people just don't have any idea what it's like to actually be in that environment. And we're lucky that way, because we don't
We're
live
lucky. We're lucky that we don't live in that environment
right.
yet, but we're not lucky that people aren't aware of this risk.
Oh, you're right about that. And that's why things like this really need to be brought into people's consciousness so that they can take the steps necessary to make sure that we don't end up in that environment. Because really what I've heard about that movie is that it's so gruesome and it shows the brutality. And we have to think of this happening possibly in our own cities. And it is a distinct possibility. A lot of people just kind of assume that the United States is immune, and we are not. So things like this movie are really important to, bring it to our attention. I'm very much in favor of people knowing about the dangers.
So, one of the things that's fascinating and intentional, I believe, about the screenplay is that the Western Front is battling the powers in the White House. And the Western Front is basically the states of Texas and California.
Right.
And I do believe that when a MAGA supporter is watching this movie, they could feel like they are the Western Front. Or if a supporter of President Biden is watching this movie, they could believe that they are in the Western Front. So it leaves it up to the viewer to decide, well, who's in power, who's in the White House, and which side actually wins if there is, in fact, a winner. And I'm looking over at the official YouTube location of the official A24 trailer that I showed. And by the way, movie trailers are meant for journalists like me to show. So I did that with permission. So one person comments, Texas and California working together. Now you know it's fiction. Someone else says, I'm going to see this just to find out how Texas and Cali ended up on the same side. And someone else wrote, I have to admit this film having the most advanced advertising campaign for a movie in history. I disagree with that. Oh, here's an interesting one. They better hurry getting this into cinemas before it's on the news.
There you go.
Someone else says, an early documentary about the upcoming Civil War. someone else says, I'm not even American, but I'm flabbergasted by California and Texas being on the same side.
I'm surprised that that's such a focus, because I read that that was done purposely so no one real side in the United States would feel like the movie was picking on them as like the enemy.
Totally.
So they decided to take a red state and a blue state and put them together. So, but if people are only focusing on that, I think they're missing the point.
No, these are people
No.
that have only seen the trailer.
Okay.
And because these are early comments on the trailer, and in the trailer we learn that California and Texas are together.
Right.
But if you see the movie, that's not what you focus on, and
Right.
And when you watch it, that exactly happens. You can, it's left up to the imagination about who's winning, who's losing, which
Right.
side is which, who occupies the White House,
Right.
etc. However, when you compare it to the particular goals of Project 2025, which is being advanced by the Republican Party, and you combine it with what happens in this movie, on a deeper level, this is what happens if Trump takes the White House and Project 2025 is successfully implemented.
Right. I'm well aware of Project 2025. The last time I was on your show, I had notes about that because I was going to talk about it, but we were on other topics and we didn't have time for me to bring it up. But that document is something that every American should read, and they should be horrified at what is being proposed. And if you agree with it, my question is, what kind of an American are you? Just like they said in the trailer, what kind of an American are you? That's your vision for America. It's, don't call yourself an originalist, don't call yourself a constitutionalist if that's your vision for America, because that is the opposite of what the writers of the Constitution had in mind. So,
well, last week my guest Joy Silver came on, and we spent the whole episode talking about Project 2025 and related issues. So you can find that on the homepage of PromoHomo.TV. And she'll be coming on, and we'll actually be talking about that regularly, among other things. Are there any other things you want to say about it from your recollection of your notes and your ongoing civic engagement?
Well, one thing is the whole idea of authoritarianism that runs through it. Whether people vote for something or not, the people who want to implement this don't care what the will of the people is. They have a vision that came about, a lot of it from Christian nationalism, I believe, and people who want to implement this one idea of what Christianity is and impose it on everyone else. Taking away, a big part for me is taking away the civil rights for people like me, gay people, queer people. We are expendable in that society. And we're even more than expendable, we're unwanted, we're undesirable. And, it's not a far stretch to go down to, the horrors that we know that can happen when a fascist government is in place, because we've seen it in history. And we need to remember that. And again, we're not immune from that. There are people who are actively trying to implement that. And it's just scary. These people scare me because they will grab power And that's all they're interested in is power. You know, taking care of like infrastructure, for example. Let me just use that as an example of something that Biden and the Democrats did. Trump talked about it for 4 years. He never did a thing about it. They don't care about that. You know, they care about getting into power and staying in power and nothing else. They, you know, take all the funding away from education, take funding away from public schools, keep the electorate uneducated, illiterate, and passive so that they just vote the way they're told to vote. That's the long-term goal of all of this. And it's something that I'm determined to fight against for as long as I'm around.
Well, it's all about making the United States a Christian nationalist state and imposing the most conservative views of Christianity onto people, and controlling women, making men the heads of households, eradicating women's health care, and so much more. Getting rid of neutral bureaucrats in civil servant jobs and replacing them with hardline loyalists. There's so much involved in it. And I was watching State of the Union this morning with Dana Bash, and they were talking about the fact that the new CNN poll shows that Biden is 5 points behind Trump in their new national poll. So Trump is leading beyond the margin of error in this particular poll. And one of the panelists, I'm not sure which one, so I can't attribute their remarks to them specifically, but they commented that people are going to vote about the issues, and abortion is one of them. Rights to abortion is one of them. So even though Arizona this week repealed the pending implementation of a law from the Civil War era, the real Civil War era, abortion will be on the ballot in Arizona, a swing state. And in Florida, we will have similar things happening because they have some of the most conservative anti-abortion laws in the country, and there will be a pro-choice issue on the ballot in Florida as well. And Florida wasn't viewed as a swing state. So do you think there's hope, Robert? Do you look into your crystal ball?
Well, I'll tell you what does give me hope. Every time abortion has been on the ballot, the abortion rights side has won. Every single time since Roe v. Wade was overturned. So in every state, even the most red states where people try to implement, whenever it was put to the people, because if you leave it to the legislature, they'll take away women's rights in a heartbeat. They have no compunction about that, with the examples that you cited. But whenever it's left to the people to vote on it, and even when they do, this is where my fear comes in, because I do have hope that these people are going to come out and vote to make sure that we do have our rights, including rights to abortion. And if that's the overriding factor, I'm all for it, whatever gets people out. But I'll use Ohio as an example. Ohio, and I don't have the information right in front of me, but they overwhelmingly passed to have it written into their constitution, the right to an abortion, and the legislature is still trying to override that. Even though it's now written into the Ohio Constitution, they don't care. They want it their way, and if they can force it to be done their way, they're all the more happy. And that's why those people have to be voted out. You know, this thing where you vote for your rights and they get taken away anyway just cannot stand. So my push, whenever I'm on Twitter, which is all the time, talking about this, vote blue 2024. That's a hashtag I use over and over and over again, because we need to get these Republicans out of office. They have just gone wild with this power grab. And if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. They've told us that and shown us that over and over again. So it's just so important. This election coming up, I'm going to be like a nervous wreck. I'm just going to be a nervous wreck. When you talk about a poll that shows Trump being ahead by 5, and I watched last night's White House Correspondents' Dinner as well, and, Colin Jost was joking about, that he was saying that the polling is tied. And he's like, how the hell is it tied? When he would talk about the horrible things Trump is doing and the great things Biden is doing. And he's like aghast. And what really struck me about the entire evening was I kept wondering about whose side is this audience on? They're strangely quiet for things that I thought were great. And I have to acknowledge that not every White House correspondent is necessarily a fan of democracy,
Well, Fox News has White House correspondents.
Oh, I know. He called out Laura Trump by name during his piece, and she was there. But I expected the crowd to be much more enthusiastically in support of Joe Biden, who's right there in front of you, but they weren't.
No, it's a very bipartisan crowd
Right.
at that event.
Right.
So still ahead on today's show, there's a governor who thinks it's okay to kill puppies. A lot of people think that what they see in the National Enquirer is real, and perhaps some of my shy viewers will comment in their social media and have something to say about today's program. And I'll be back with Robert Karl after this. And we're also going to learn how people have reacted in public when he's worn his PromoHomo.TV t-shirt in Puerto Rico. This particular shirt is the crux of the Hopeful Sexual campaign, and it is designed to inspire authentic human connection while simultaneously combating sexuality-based shame and stigma. And the really cool thing is, if you go to hopefulsexual.com, it takes you to an Amazon store where this shirt is available in all sorts of styles, sizes, and colors. And I use the revenue to fund PromoHomo.TV. So check it out. I think almost everyone is a hopeful sexual, don't you? So, Robert, this is the most complimented shirt, any version of the Hopeful Sexual shirt. It's the most complimented shirt that I've ever gotten. And, I say that it's about inspiring authentic human connection. maybe that would end up in a date or a hookup, but it almost always encourages a conversation. And also, to wear a shirt like this is to celebrate sexuality, and if you celebrate sexuality, you are fighting sexuality-based shame and stigma. And what I found fascinating is that I had a post about this on my public Facebook page with 8,500 people at the time, and I decided to boost the post. And I used the choice to people who like your page and people who are like them. And what happened was somehow I started targeting haters. And haters embraced this as a gay shirt. And I just got a nonstop barrage of hateful messages about this shirt. So I canceled the campaign, and I blocked all of the haters. So that is the differing reactions to this shirt. But here in the Coachella Valley, when I go out and about wearing it, people love it. So how was your shirt, your PromoHomo.TV shirt, received in Puerto Rico? Tell me about it.
Let me just say I'm not shy about the clothing that I wear. I have a whole shop called clubpride.org with lots of pride t-shirts. When I wore this shirt, I just want to tell you the experience. I was with a friend and we went to the local mall called Plaza Las Americas, and we're walking around doing shopping, and people sometimes will acknowledge you. There's lots of gay people there, so a lot of people were checking out the shirt. But the coolest part was when we went to the food court and we're sitting there and we're, enjoying our little meal. And these three guys come over and they ask, about the shirt that I'm wearing. And so I told them about it. I told them how I got it, told them what PromoHomo.TV is. And they ended up sitting with us. They wanted to sit with us and share a meal. And I ended up making a couple of new friends just because of the shirt I was wearing, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten any attention from these people. So I just want to give a little shout out to Marco and Christian and JC, my three new friends here in Puerto Rico, who were kind enough to be interested in knowing about PromoHomo.TV and learning about the things that I'm doing. And I shared with them things that you're doing. And Wyatt, when you watch this, I shared with them about you too. So we had really had a really fun time. So for me, this was all positive. It was a totally positive experience, and I was really happy. That's why I'm wearing it today.
Well, I have to say, I love that. I love that. And I have never had three people sit down at the table with me as a result of wearing any shirts.
This was unusual, but very cool. Very, very cool. Like, what can I say? People here are friendly, but they're not usually that friendly.
I've had all of your contact information up for the last few minutes, and I'll put it up again because we've earlier in the show we've talked about civil wars, and upcoming we will be talking about drag wars. But first, I know you have some thoughts about Governor Kristi Noem, or whatever that woman's name is.
Right. I don't know if she pronounces it Noem or Noam. It doesn't really matter to me.
It's Noem.
Okay. She is the governor of South Dakota, and she wants to be vice president. She wants to be Donald Trump's vice president. So she decided that she wanted to show how tough she is and how politically incorrect she is. So she wrote a book about whatever her points of view are. And of course, she's totally maggot, 100% behind everything that Donald Trump stands for. But she told this story in the book, and it was amplified on Twitter, about her killing her dog because the dog, she wanted it to be a hunting dog, and the dog didn't want to be a hunting dog. So she decided, if you're not going to do what I want you to do, you're worthless. And she took it into a gravel pit and killed it. And it just so happened that there were some construction workers going by who witnessed it. And then there was a school bus going by that witnessed it.
That brought her kids home.
Right. And I put a thing on Twitter directed at her that said, "Mommy, where's Cricket?" Because Cricket was the dog's name. And that's what the kids asked her when, Cricket wasn't there anymore. So I want to read what Mary Trump wrote on Twitter. This is her directly quoting. "Kristi Noem is telling everybody that she murdered a puppy because she wants to be Donald's VP and she thinks the story will appeal to him. She's not wrong." So she knows her uncle and she knows that he would like this story, but the backlash against it has been tremendous. Like, I don't know how much of it you've seen on social media, but Twitter went on fire about her cruelty. And my point is,
it wasn't just Twitter. It was every social media platform.
Right.
Well, I don't know about Truth Social.
Right.
And all the news networks. Dana Bash today said that it had gone viral, and that's a huge understatement.
My point is that Kristi was under the impression that cruelty equals strength, and it does not. Being cruel to a dog for no reason really whatsoever, she tried to backtrack and give some reasons why she did it. But in the book, I believe she said the dog was having like the time of its life. It's jumping around, it's all happy, and then she shoots it. And, that is not strength. That's not a show of strength. But she thought it was. She thought that everyone would think, wow, she has the courage to take these steps. But to me, it just shows that you're just cruel and mean. And it's like your heart is dead inside. Like, what kind of a human being are you to, first of all, do it, and then to talk about it, and to expect to be praised for it? And maybe in some circles she's gotten praise. I don't see that side of Twitter, to be honest. I don't see the side where people, occasionally people will tweet out things that people say, but I don't follow any of them. But I haven't heard I've seen some very conservative people denouncing her for that. So I do believe it's backfired in a lot of ways. Hopefully it means the end of any idea about her becoming a vice presidential candidate. I hope that even Trump would see that the backlash is too much and he'll cross her off his list. But who knows? But this idea that you have to be mean, because they're all modeling this after Trump. He's a mean person. He treats people with cruelty. People who show the slightest bit of disloyalty to him, he just trashes them. And they still support him. Bill Barr, for example. Bill Barr was on a couple of shows just this week talking about Trump doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the White House. And then the people say, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to vote for him? Oh, yeah, I'm still going to vote for him. What do you mean you're still going to vote for him when you say he should be nowhere near the White House, but you're going to vote for him anyway? I can't even follow what is the logic to that. But I don't know. That's how people are. But anyway, this whole thing with Puppygate, which is what I'm calling it, is so disturbing, and it's symptomatic of where too many people's minds are in America today. I think it really is symptomatic of how far our culture has descended, that anyone would expect to be glorified for doing such a horrific act. So I'm just so horrified by the entire episode. I can't even say anything more about it. Sometimes I start crying about that little puppy.
Yeah, it's just it's horrifying. It's horrifying and unbelievable. I mean, everyone that was hearing it was thinking this can't be true, because it's just so horrifying. And so, you know, the huge headline I used to promote this particular episode across social media, and incidentally, you know, we're toward the home stretch of the show, and I haven't even talked about it, but catch and kill is not journalism. And also, the National Enquirer and other tabloids are most often not telling the truth. So one of the points that that true journalists have been making in the coverage of the Trump trial in New York, commonly known as the hush money trial, is that, you know, what the National Enquirer does is not journalism. And because unfortunately, just like there are a lot of people who believe what they see and hear on Fox News, they also believe what they read in the National Enquirer. What are your thoughts?
Well, catch and kill, the actual, if people don't know, publication will sometimes tell a source that they want an exclusive, and they will pay for that exclusive story. And then sometimes the people think that they're being paid for the story to be published, when the publisher actually has the exact opposite idea. They're going to keep it quiet, and that's the kill part. So they catch it by getting an exclusive deal, and then they kill it because they never publish it. And that's exactly what they did here. It's the exact opposite of what journalism actually is, because journalism is it to inform people about things that are occurring. The point I'll make about all of this, and I don't think, I really haven't heard anybody else say this, Donald Trump underestimated his voters because he thought he had to kill this story. But the fact of the matter is, he never had to kill the story, because even with, like, say the Access Hollywood story came out, people still decided that they were going to support him in spite of that. And I really believe that he just wasted his time and money trying to keep this story quiet, because if it came out, people wouldn't have cared anyway. So he's really in a catch-22, because he is now in legal trouble because he violated the law by having this story killed for the purpose of hiding it so that voters wouldn't know about it. That's the whole reason. They're trying to say, oh, I was trying to protect Melania, blah, blah, blah. He didn't care anything about what Melania knew about this. You know, that wasn't the purpose. And the testimony has shown this to be true, the testimony so far. So, but really, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit that he's in so much trouble for something that he really didn't have to do. Because if that story had come out, all those evangelicals who just shrugged their shoulders at all his adulterous affairs and everything, and his lack of knowledge about the Bible and everything else that they forgive him for, because they wanted those Supreme Court justices in place to overturn Roe v. Wade, and that was their focus. They didn't care if he paid off a porn star. They just didn't care about that at all. They still don't care. So that's my take on it. But you're right, catch and kill is not journalism. The National Enquirer, I remember it back from when I was a kid, and it was in the supermarkets and the drugstores, and it was like crazy stuff about, aliens, blah, 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 and whatever, stories. We just knew it was made up.
You knew it was made
I
up.
never knew anybody who thought it was real, but apparently times have changed, and not for the good, as far as
You have to remember that there are a lot of people.
literacy isn't what it used to be.
Well, you also have to remember there are a lot of people that think that the January 6th insurrectionists were actually tourists.
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. I watched it on TV. I know that they were not tourists. I saw it live on TV.
I did too, and I just still can't believe it. So I want to just let our viewers know, because I've set this up. So what you're seeing now is the homepage of PromoHomo.TV. And when you scroll down, you see Joy Silver right there. And that was last week's episode that was all about Project 2025. Over on the right, you'll see me in a PromoHomo.TV t-shirt and this hot tattooed model wearing a hopeful sexual t-shirt. Those take you to the merch items. Also, there's a merch shopping item in the menu, and that drops down a link to hopeful sexual merch, PromoHomo.TV merch, and I also have a Vote t-shirt out there, and then books and music that you can get. But the other thing I wanted you to know that is if you type in hopefulsexual.com, it redirects to the Amazon store, where you can find this show in its podcast version at the top of that. But then you also have a variety of hopeful sexual items directly on Amazon. So you don't actually have to become a patron of PromoHomo TV. And then some of my music is available there, and a couple of my books are there. So I wanted you to know about that. Also, with that, I'm going to bring up something else. So let's stop that and let's just bring this up. We talked about Civil War, and now we're going to talk about Drag Wars. Fangula versus Pridezilla, which is Robert's upcoming book. So how cool is that Robert, you have two new books coming up. So tell us about it.
Well, let me talk about Drag Wars, because this is really near and dear to my heart. What a fun book to write. So I'm going to read the blurb that's on the back cover, and it gives you a little idea of what it's about. The Philly drag scene heats up as the Drag Wars competition begins. Only the most fierce, ferocious, and fabulous queens will survive the elimination rounds. Janice, the trans-masked drag king, MCs all the action on stage, while the queens battle it out both backstage and under the watchful eyes of the judges as they perform. Who will capture the bragging rights, the cash, and take home the pink tiara? So that's a little teaser of what it's about. And I have two quotes also from each of the main characters. Pridezilla says, "Drag isn't what I do, drag is who I am." And Fangula says, "I went searching for my drag name, but my name found me." So if you want to know how that happens, you can read the book, which will be coming out in June. And I just want to say that I love all the drag shows, and I love to hear about the queens. And that's what inspired me to write this book. But, as I'm thinking about watching these shows and thinking about the audience, and it occurs to me that people many times don't know who is behind the performance. So I have fully fleshed out characters who live real lives and go through real experiences, both positive and negative. And Fangula is actually the more ambitious of the two. So Fangula in the book has her own website, and sells merchandise. So I thought, well, a reader might decide to check fangula.com. So I purchased the domain fangula.com, and I'm in the process of setting up Fangula's website. And I already have Fangula merchandise available on my merchandise site, which is clubpride.org. And so Fangula has a logo that she developed, which is, well, people can go and look at it. It's pretty cool, and they make cool t-shirts too, so maybe somebody will check it out. But fangula.com will come online sometime in the next week or two, and it will just really redirect people to merchandise and tell more about the book. So I'm very excited about the whole project. It's really grown into something that beyond what I was expecting for a book. But just having that episode in the book where Fangula is trying to become a star, I thought, well, maybe I could turn her into a star in real life, even though she's fictional.
Well, stranger things have happened, and there's so many things. One of the things that I didn't know, because we talked about this before we went live, is that RuPaul has an online store, and your books are available there.
Yes, it's called Allstora, ALLSTORA.com. This is RuPaul's online bookstore. And my other books, the books that are already published, Club 2 and Club 3, are all available there right now, as well as on Amazon. So that's very exciting.
Well, also Robert Karl, author.com.
Yes.
And where people can find out more about you. And on Instagram, you're at Robert Karl _NPR, which stands for Puerto Rico, and of course, clubpride.org.
All of that keeps me very busy.
I understand completely, being a fellow PromoHomo.
Absolutely.
So is there anything else that you would like to say today in conclusion?
I just want to take an opportunity to once again thank you for bringing me on as a guest. It's really a pleasure for me, and I really feel comfortable. I enjoy the experience, and it's really a wonderful opportunity. So I just want to say thank you, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the things that you do for the community. You've been an advocate for a very long time, and we need people like you in our community, and I commend you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I just got confirmation from Joy Silver about when her next appearance will be on the show. And she'll be on the last Sunday of March, which is the 26th.
No, it can't be March.
I mean, May, excuse me, May. Yeah, she's going to be on May the 26th. Will be Joy Silver's next appearance on the show. I will not be broadcasting a week from today. I may decide to find a politically oriented program from my archives and put it in for rebroadcast, but we won't be live next weekend. Just wanted you to know that. By the way, Robert, in case you're thinking it, I did not get a perm. My hair is naturally this curly.
Beautiful.
It's naturally this curly, and I'm letting it get longer just because I wanted to. And I'm experimenting with facial hair, which I've never really fully committed to. And I want to know what I'm going to look like with an actual beard, if it's possible for me to ultimately end up with one, and long hair. I've had the long hair before, and I'm just experimenting, and it's easy to change if I don't like it.
It's fun to do. I've had long hair several times in my life. When I was a teenager, I had really, really long hair. And then during the pandemic, I spent 3 years not getting my hair cut. And I have some photos of that, so maybe next time I could show you how I looked. Everyone would ask me, were you a rock star in the past? So it was and really, that's what I look like. I did look like an old rock star. So that got a lot of attention. Maybe not as much attention as the T-shirt, but it did get attention, and that's what it's all about.
Well, maybe you have to revisit the rock star look and wear the T-shirt and see what happens then.
There you go.
Guess what happened to me last week?
Tell me.
I turned 62.
Happy birthday.
Yes, and I really didn't have, I mean, my friend Jeffrey, he took me out to dinner. I've known him for 30 years or more. And it was Dining Out for Life, which happens in 50 cities across the country, where restaurants donate a portion of their proceeds to a HIV/AIDS service organization.
We had those in Philly.
And locally, it supports DAP Health, of which I am a client. So I asked Jeffrey, who was taking me out, to choose a Dining Out for Life restaurant. And we went to this really wonderful restaurant here in Palm Springs called Low Desert Modern Mexican. And it was really good. So anyone who's watching that hasn't in the area who hasn't been to Low Desert Modern Mexican, it's in the Ralph's Shopping Center over on Palm Canyon Drive. And they have really unique menu items. I really loved it. I call it gourmet Mexican food. It was delicious. And then spontaneously, because Jeffrey hadn't heard about the movie Civil War, on Thursday night I showed him the trailer, and that's what resulted in us going to see it Friday night as an extension of my birthday celebrations. And in about half an hour, I'm going to be having another birthday celebration with my friend Jonathan Mugridge, who is often a co-host of my coverage of White Party Palm Springs and the Pride Parade and the Red Dress Red Party. So with very little time and attention really paid to my birthday, it's ended up being a nice celebration.
Well, congratulations and happy birthday, and enjoy every moment that you have. Celebrate. I celebrate life all the time, and I encourage other people to do the same.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm gonna ask you to share with me and our audience some words of wisdom about how to stay sane and calm between now and the presidential election.
Well, I'm going to say, first of all, besides sane and calm, stay informed. And then try to stay sane and calm. But it's more important to stay informed, even if the information upsets you. So I'm going to say, whatever, yoga that you practice, or meditation, or you listen to calming music, whatever you do to relax, do that. But don't turn off the news because you don't want to hear what's going on.
That's very well said. And I'm going to stop you there. And I'm going to say to my viewers, don't turn off PromoHomo.TV, especially the Snowstorm on Sundays, if you want to know what's going on. See you next time.
Thank you.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the sun.